Hello, I'm Steve McDonald with the League of Women Voters of San Francisco, here today to talk about Proposition D, a measure that the citizens of San Francisco will be voting on in November 2nd.
Proposition D is a measure that would allow non-citizen residents of San Francisco to vote for members of the Board of Education if they are a parent or guardian for a child living in the school district and they are over 18 years of age.
I'm here with Chris Miller, who's Vice Chair of Communications with the Republican Party of San Francisco, who is going to speak in opposition to Proposition D. Chris, what is it that you feel the key points are in opposition to Proposition D?
Sure. Well, there are a number of reasons that the Republican Party as a whole has chosen to oppose Proposition D. One of the major reasons for that is the fact that this particular measure fails to differentiate between legal and illegal citizens. So although at face value this may look like it's a piece of legislation that makes sense and that might be a good idea to adopt this type of policy, obviously there are some serious legal implications involved in failing to differentiate between legal and illegal citizens. Voting is clearly a right of citizens, and if we were to consider non-citizens voting in a school board election, we would definitely only consider being a proponent of a measure that included only legal citizens that are here in the country legally. Another one of the reasons that we are opposing this measure is on the fiscal side. This is going to cost anywhere to the tune of $150,000 annually, according to the City Controller's Office and the Department of Elections. And clearly anyone that knows anything about the state that our city budget is in at this point is aware of the fact that we do not have those funds available, nor do we have the funds available for many of the programs that are currently in place. Another reason that we are opposing this is because it also opens the floodgates for massive voter fraud. There was a proponent of Proposition D that came to speak to the Central Committee, and we had asked them specifically, why did you make the decision to use the verbiage non-citizens rather than being able to differentiate between legal and illegal citizens? And they did not have a concrete answer, nor were they able to tell us what system they had in place to ensure that voter fraud would not take place. So these are some of the main issues that we have with Proposition D specifically.
If passed, how do you think Proposition D would affect the school systems in San Francisco?
So really, Proposition D is not necessarily a measure or a piece of legislation that is attempting to improve the school board elections. It's more an attempt, what I've heard the argument for it, is that it may make, one, availability to the system to vote in a school board election for parents of potential students that are currently enrolled in the public school system. It also does not differentiate between students that are currently in the public school system and children that are eligible to be in the public school system. So if that had been the attempt, then they would have differentiated between children that were currently in the school district as opposed to having the option of attending a public school within San Francisco. So in our mind, this is not a piece of legislation that is going to drastically change the outcome of an election, and is also not going to have any positive implications for the city of San Francisco or the school board elections as a whole. So,
thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
I'm here now with David Chu, President of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, to talk about and in support of Proposition D. David, how do you support Proposition D and the reasons?
I'm a strong supporter of Proposition D for many reasons. As we all know, our schools are severely challenged. We have teachers being laid off, we have overcrowded classrooms, we have so many services that have been eliminated. Our kids need better. One of the best ways to help improve our local public schools is to engage all of our parents. And Proposition D is about 100% parental participation in the most important decision affecting our school system: who gets to sit on our school board. Proposition D would allow all parents in the San Francisco Unified School District to vote in school board elections, including immigrant parents. And this is so important for so many reasons. Right now, 1 out of 3 parents of kids in the school system is an immigrant. Most of these kids themselves are actually citizens. But because their parents don't have a voice, their kids don't have a voice. And so Proposition D is really to engage all of our parents. Now, this is something that has actually been done in a number of other cities around the country. In recent years in New York City, in 6 cities and towns in Maryland, in Chicago, immigrants have been allowed to vote. And the studies have shown that when immigrant parents are working alongside all other parents, that helps to improve schools in many ways. In New York City, these coalitions help to bring about reduced class sizes, new capital improvements to schools, greater funding for after-school programs. And one thing I should mention is the U.S. Supreme Court has reiterated over and over again that citizenship is not a prerequisite for voting. And the reason for this, and the reason why our founding fathers allowed immigrants to vote from 1776 through the late 1920s in over 22 states and territories, was that allowing newcomers to really engage and invest in local institutions helps to improve this for everyone.
If passed, how do you see Proposition D impacting the school system?
Well, I think many of us believe that when you engage all of those parents working alongside together, that really helps to move the entire school system forward. And this is why we have parents throughout the city, young people, teachers, the Democratic Party, the Labor Council, the entire school board, and a supermajority of the Board of Supervisors in support of this important measure. I hope that voters will take an opportunity to visit our website at votepropd.com to learn about the importance of 100% parental participation to really move forward our schools in the 21st century.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
And that sums up Proposition D. For any other voter information, please go to sfvotes.org, the League's website, and don't forget to vote November 2nd.